The story takes place in Austin, and it's the summertime. And those of you who don't know, if you've never been in Texas before, it was blazing outside. It's blazing outside. And if you don't know, the homeless population in Austin is crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. So there's a lot of roundabouts just in case if you were to miss an exit, you can get back on the highway in an easier way. People out here just still can't drive. Let's get back on topic. And on the corner of the roundabout, I see this homeless person. He has a sign, and the sign says, I need food. I will eat anything. So I go get food. I go get drinks. I'm going back to look for the dude. So here's where the problem begins. I come back around to see where the guy was, and he wasn't there. And so I'm thinking maybe he got up, maybe he walked away. All right, cool. So I get back on the highway. I drive back around to see if I can see him walking around or whatever. And I don't see him. So I'm like, all right, one loop. 5 minutes pass, another loop. 10 minutes pass, and I'm just looping and looping and looping. There's two things that I'm going to emphasize that I noticed within myself in this encounter. And if this applies to you, then maybe you'll come to this understanding. So as I'm driving around again, I'm driving around and I see a whole bunch of homeless people. And so I'm passing familiar faces at this point. I've been out there for about 30 minutes. I still can't find the dude. And so as I was driving around, I noticed this homeless lady. And again, I'm not judging, but she had a sweater on. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, like it's 100 degrees outside. She's clearly not in her right state of mind. She's hot and she has a sweater on. And so, you know what I do? I pull over because she was in the area, like under the bridges, like under the highways. She was on the side where that was. And so I get I get all the way to the far left, far enough to where she can walk up to me. I beat my horn. I hand her a drink. And as I'm handing her the drink, as soon as the cup leaves my hands, I feel conviction. And so now I'm like, dang, like I did a good thing. So back to what I was saying, that's point number one. Immediately, as soon as the cup left my hands, I thought of Saul in the Bible, where when you're looking at Saul's behavior, there were instances where he had the opportunity to do exactly what the Most High wanted him to do. And instead, he did what he thought that was good in his own eyes. And that's what I did. And so I handed a drink immediately. I feel the conviction. I'm sitting there like, man, dang, like it's hot. She thirsty. She clearly out of her mind. She got a sweater on. God immediately, did I tell you to do that? And so even though it's hot outside, she could be sweating bullets. If God don't tell you to do it, even if you feel like you're doing a good thing, if he's putting you specifically on an assignment, just don't do it. When you pray specific prayers, y'all know what I'm talking about. Well, I try to do something similar to that. I'm like, God, you put in Pharaoh's heart. You the one that put it in Pharaoh's heart to act like that. Can you put it in that brother's heart to stay still? Because he's making me mad. So now I'm driving and I'm like, all right, come on now. So after the first time, I ain't listen and I did what I wanted to do. I'm like, all right, I'm a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little bit more patient. I'm going around. And God just like, keep going, keep going. So I'm driving around. I've been driving out there for about an hour and a half and I still can't find the dude. And so now I'm like, man, bump this. He ain't eating. He finna starve because I'm going home. And y'all noticed earlier when I said I handed the drink and look how I act. Look how I act. Immediately, God, like, first off, he had to immediately, as soon as the words left my mouth, check me right then and there. First off, you ain't got nothing to do. And it's true. I was pretty much done with all the things that I had to do in that day. So the rest of my schedule was pretty much free for that time. So he like, you ain't got nothing to do first. Secondly, did you forget? You forgot that fast that you just did what you wanted to do. Now you all of a sudden frustrated. Now my heart hurt. I'm about to cry. I'm like, all right, look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, all right, like, let me relax. Let me keep going. So guys, like, listen, go around. Even if you got to drive a little further, just keep going around. Keep going around. I prayed my prayer. So now I'm like, all right, like, something got to give, though. I ain't gonna lie. Because I've been driving around. It's been 2 hours now. I still can't find this dude. I drive around. And lo and behold, I bust another loop. And I see him walking. He was just talking to somebody. So I'm like, thank you. Like, oh my gosh. So he's walking. And as I'm driving around, I'm thinking to myself, brother, I'm going to need you to stay still because I'm trying to bless you. You had your sign. You clearly hungry. I'm trying to get you some food. I need you to stay still. I'm trying to bless you. I need you to. This is what I was saying to myself. Like, you need to stay still. I'm trying to be obedient to God. And you moving around, you're wandering around, you talking to people, and I'm trying to bless you. That's point number two. But he's on the right side of the highway. I'm on the left side. He's on the street. I'm on the highway and I'm on the left. I'm all the way in the left lane because I've been going around and around and around. He's all the way in the right. So I make another loop. This time I merge over to the right lane. I see him crossing the highway and he's walking towards the area where I first seen him on the corner. So I'm like, I bet I got to beat him there. As he's walking, I'm driving around so we can meet. We finally get back to where I first met him. I finally get instantly. I pull over in the far left lane. I'm like, I beat my horn. I call him over. I hand him the food. I say, hey, brother. I hand him the food and I seen a guy behind him. I told him, hey, I got you some food. There's also enough for him too as well. So I finally get the food and I'm thinking to myself, look, God, see, I was down and out in the first half, but you see how I locked in on the second? Now I'm giving myself pats on the back. I'm like, yeah, bro, I did it. You know what I'm saying? I got the excitement. I got my good deed done. I'm finna go home. So you know how I kept saying, like, immediately, when I kept saying something, God was immediately, as soon as I finished my little statement, the Holy Spirit says, that's you. That's who? Me. That's you, he said. He said, Deshaun, I hear your prayers. And Pete, he says, Deshaun, I hear your prayers. I hear your cry for me. And every time I come to answer your prayer, you're wandering off. And the more you wander, the more you wander, the more you walk off, the more you start doing your own thing, you're delaying your blessing. And that frustration that you felt is the frustration that I feel when I'm trying to bless you. You talking about, that's moi. He like, yeah. He like, yeah, that's you. I try to bless you. I hear your cries. I hear your prayers. And at that time frame, I was really going through something. And I'm praying and I'm praying and I'm praying. And the minute I get up and pray, I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I gotta make something shake. I gotta get something going. So I'm getting up and I'm thinking I'm doing what was best for me. And God's like, you notice your words when you were saying, I want to bless you. That is exactly how I feel for you. As I'm driving home now, the very first things that I thought was the 2 points that I gave earlier, which was my response when I wasn't getting my way and how impatient I was. And as I'm reflecting and I'm looking within my own heart, I realized that I'm a born again believer. I've been baptized by water and Holy Spirit. I've been in church. I've had the whole Christian churchy experience. And deep within my heart was deep rooted rebellion. Deep rooted rebellion was in my heart. And that opened the door to a vast amount of things in my life. When I'm thinking about my childhood, the moments when I quit, the moments when I didn't fully commit to something, when I was unfaithful to something, when I wanted to do my own thing. Even me being born again and saved by the blood, I have deep rooted rebellion within my heart. Deep rooted rebellion within my heart. So now I'm thinking like, all right, like, when was the first time I rebelled? And a thought popped in my head of my biological father not being there. And it made me realize that the importance of a father is so deeply important because in that chaos, you strip order. The Most High set up the family structure to be of a man and of a woman, a husband and a wife, a father and a mother to be there to raise a child because both parties are important for the development of their child. And so because my father wasn't there, because my father wasn't in my life and I have to figure out manhood on my own, it opened the door to rebellion when I wasn't getting my way and I just decided to do it on my own. And it's understandable. I mean, we're talking about an omnipresent, invisible God. And so for a very long time, it dawned to me when in my moments I'm having a hard time seeing the Most High as a father figure, since I didn't have a physical father figure there to begin with, and then it spoke volumes into the lack of self love that I have. Meaning, because I didn't receive that foundational love from my biological father. So I received that love now from the Most High, and now I'm developing this love through Him. But at that time, even up until that point in time, all of that time, I didn't properly love myself. And it is because of that lack of self love, and it is because of that lack of the discipline why I rebelled. And so now I'm conjuring all these thoughts. I'm conjuring all these understandings. And so I'm going to break it down. Naturally, my biological father wasn't there. And because naturally my biological father wasn't there, I had no man figure to set the principal foundation of love. And because I was raised by a woman who, my mom's a very caring person, but she's too caring, where sometimes she doesn't necessarily allow me to bump my head or to run risk because it can cause me to be too hurt, where over nurturance would cause, especially a man where a lot of the what especially as a man where you have to take risks. Some life is trial and error, because in that process is the how, where the most high will tell you the what. Like Abraham, I'll make you a father of many nations. What Abraham did was to go to the maid. He did what he wanted to do. He tried to figure out the how, where the most high is saying, no, I'm going to develop that how. I'm going to keep my promise with you. If you know how, you will receive the glory for something that I told you to do. But I don't share my glory because the thought that I place within you is not of you. You didn't originally have that desire. I placed that desire in you. Therefore, the methods or the way for that thought, that desired outcome to be accomplished, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to lead you into how I want it to be done. And for a very long time, even sometimes up until this very day, I have a hard time understanding that because of that deep rooted rebellion. And I look at my father. There's nothing wrong with my father. I don't really know the brother like that. You know, we met one time, we have a few conversations here and there, but he never experienced his own family. When he was a child, he lost his parents, unfortunately. And so that caused him to have to figure these things out on his own. Emotional disconnect that I felt, that the emotional disconnect that I felt from him, he feels from his parents, where he feels like he has nobody. Because of this deep rooted rebellion, it spoke volumes as to the reason why I had a struggle with lust.